In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today we have Robert Downey as the guest, and Robert's a thought leader and he's known for his expertise in leveraging voice and social media and AI to enhance marketing efforts for local and national brands. He'll share some insights on how businesses use AI to connect with audiences and drive results. So get ready for an enlightening discussion, or at least it'll be fun, right, Robert?
At least it'll be fun.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm grateful you took the time today to
definitely
chat.
I appreciate you having me on. AI has totally changed the entire business landscape for how we do everything. It's been here for a long time, but really it's made mainstream absolutely crazy over the last 90 days to a year.
Yeah, it is interesting. This kind of, I call it's been retailized, right? Like everybody has access to it now. And so it's interesting, though, the adoption rates are still relatively low. And the recent studies I've seen is that, we're still only about 40% of business professionals have tried to use AI tools. And people in my age bracket, the Gen Xers, are the least adopting group out of all the demographics of the United States.
I see a combination, and I think the stats are kind of skewed as far as that goes in a lot of ways. So I track thousands upon thousands of business profiles and analytics and all that different stuff from the data aspect. And I see a ton of businesses being found by just using the new feature from ChatGPT for being able to go through and use it instead of Google. And I did a whole entire podcast. I know Google wasn't very happy about it. Google's dead as we know it. They tried saying I said they were dead. I'm like, you're not dead. It's not the same as what it was. It's no different than if we go back to the 90s and when everybody thought they'd have AOL.
Yeah, no, exactly. The stranglehold that they had in terms of search and PPC has been released. And the other one I really enjoy using is Perplexity when I'm shopping and looking for a new service.
There's so many options for what it comes to, and now people get to have a real live conversation with the algorithm. That's really what AI comes into when you think about it for marketing.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to know what's the AI pixel that your company Simply Be Found, what you guys have put into that, and kind of what it does a little bit if you lift
so that we tried to make it super simple as we could for business owners to adopt it. It's a great way to get into putting AI onto your website with still having that human touch. I don't think it is 100% to where it can be just released and just do your SEO for your website on its own. It still does things to where we had one site that started talking about a construction company, and they are far right-hand side of what a construction company would ever be. They're an actual counseling center, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. But for some reason, there's some data points out there that started pulling that in. So we still bring that manual person in that reviews every single change that happens by that AI. But what it does is it makes it super simple to do your SEO on your website. So it's going to do your titles. It's going to do your meta descriptions. It's going to do your image. So your alternative tags for that. It's going to do your internal linking. It's going to bring your website for what used to take thousands of hours for SEO back in the day. It's going to streamline it to where we can knock out what someone would take. What I back in the day, I used to quote probably 90 days to 120 days to do the amount of work it does in a week.
Amazing. And so this is both something that's working for what we would consider traditional SEO, and there's also GEO or generative engine optimized as well, or where are you
There is,
fitting
and
on that?
there's AEO as well. So the answers engine that comes into that. So I mean, you have that piece. Then you
Uh-huh.
also have your schema piece that gets built into that piece. So you have all three of
Yep.
those pieces that are being in there, because at the end of the day,
Interesting.
you have three different pillars that we follow for doing your marketing. You have your content, you have your authority, and you have your trust. So I get a lot of businesses that sign up for our listings engine, which uses AI to be able to list your business on everything. I have Then you have the
Yep.
social media side, then you have the AI SEO pixel. So having one of those gets you barely there, kind of gets you wet for the next,
Yep.
and then having the whole thing is what's going to do it. But you have to put work into it to be able to get it to where it's going to get the results. There's not a magic button still yet to say, hey, you're an AI employee, go do all this for me. I haven't seen one of those work yet.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that, but I think we're still like you're saying, we're still a few hallucinations away from being able to do
We're closer than we were, a year ago.
it. Sure. Well, and I think you'll probably agree that the speed of change and the dynamism, right, of us learning how to use these engines and then the engines learning from what we're putting in is
It's
pretty
absolutely
phenomenal.
crazy. It reminds me back in the day of going from the 14.4 modem to the 28.8 to the 56K. Then all of a sudden they introduced cable modems, and it brought a whole new aspect to the
Yeah.
internet. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that same speed. We hadn't seen that in a we haven't seen that since the .com crash, I don't think. I mean, we had social media
Yeah,
get
no, it's
introduced, but
true. Yeah,
social media was a gradual kind of thing. It was different.
for sure. Yeah, no, I remember that where you sit around for AOL and you got to dial into the correct number to get the stated bandwidth and just to be able to get email, right? We weren't even
No.
surfing the web yet.
I mean, I worked for AOL, CompuServe, and Prodigy back in the day. And for one of those, I actually crashed an entire phone bank one day by doing an update that wasn't necessarily correct. And next thing you know, you saw the queues of all the customer support lines going absolutely crazy. And right, it was like pull back. No, 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 no. But I mean, I can't imagine connecting
Well,
everything by phone anymore.
no, yeah, exactly. Well, that's why we don't, right? We just have the satellites now.
The Starlink side's going to be probably pretty cool once it gets correct.
Yeah, no, Starlink has changed my life, in just in terms of being able to work remote and the tiny amount of power those things draw is
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm lucky enough that we just got a service that just got installed that I get 2.3 or 2.4 gig up and down. And I'm like, well, what the hell did I do before that?
It's almost like being in the same room with somebody. Well, talk to me a little bit about this AEO and about how let's say a marketing professional or marketing department would set up some of their information for those AEO.
So if you're going to try to be able to do anything in the AEO area, you're going to want to be able, all it is answers. So it's basically putting the right schema around your FAQ sections inside of the site. So that's going to be your big piece that you have to do. So inside of your schema, make sure you have your local business. If you're a local business, so you have all your contact information, stack that with your answers. And really, it's just answering questions, because you see that come up in a lot of the search results, and the AI search really digs deep into answering questions. So if you're answering questions for inside of your website, that's going to be a huge key part for you to be able to do. If you're using the AI SEO pixel from us, what we're going to do is we're going to send you questions constantly, being able to say, hey, guess what? Here's some questions we should do after we get the basics done. Once we get that foundation done, then we can start diving into that next piece. But I always say, if you're going to focus in the AEO area, I recommend doing video as well and answer questions. So most business owners get really kind of terrified of quality and what they're going to do in the video world. But really, just pull out your phone. You can do 3 minutes now inside of the YouTube app and record direct and just upload a short. And you can talk about, what's going on inside of your business, what problem you just solved. because it's about being able to tell each of these algorithms, this is the information that I can solve for this person. So if someone does a search, they know you can solve that problem. And I think that's where marketing agencies probably lack the most, is they don't know, they're not on the truck every single day if you're a construction company or a contractor or inside of that accounting office or doctor's office. They don't know the kind of questions you get asked all day. We could guess until our mind is blue, but we're going to miss those things that might be that piece that makes your business absolutely explode.
Yeah, for sure. And there's nothing like boots on the ground, right? And actual interactions with humans.
Exactly. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I'm curious what your marketing campaigns look like for your agency. What are you guys doing right now?
We do everything organic. We're 100% organic. We don't do any ad spend whatsoever for Simply Be Found. We jump on these podcasts like we're on right now. We do a ton of video. Even though I haven't gotten back on the video bandwagon like I should have at the first of the year. I've been busy doing all my other stuff. But, we produce a ton of video and we bring value. So whenever we do any kind of marketing, it's about bringing value to that end person and telling the story and bringing them into it.
Love it. What is it that you're doing on the social media that's unique?
So we designed our whole entire SEO, our whole entire social media suite. We made it simple to go out to everything. Really, we're just posting out. I bring a lot of value. I post more content than what the average person says they should post. If you go to the so-called experts and what's out there, but if you're bringing value and someone wants to get that kind of content and get those tips, they're going to keep following you. That kind of changes if you are, a roofer or something like that. They don't want to hear about roofs every single day.
Right. Well, what's kind of your what's the structure that you like to follow in those videos that are bringing value?
I answer questions. So everything I do kind of falls into that AEO piece. So most of my video content gets created from somebody asking a question on support. One of our members asks a question. I figure somebody else has that same question, and I'll usually answer it by video, or I add it to my list to answer by video.
I love it. And then have you gotten a cloned avatar of yourself yet? Or are you planning on that?
So, my world of sales and how I do things, I like the I like the pauses inside of the video. I think it brings natural language to it. I've played around with some of the AI avatars, and for one, they scare the living hell out of me. For two, it's one of those things to where they're just not real. I think they're close, but it doesn't bring that real personality in. I like fumbling every once in a while because it makes you human, and brings a different connection piece to the table. That there's no fumble. They're 100% right on. Now, I will say for those AI agents, if you want to scare a bunch of lawyers and a couple senators and different people, I was in a room. It was before Christmas, but I was in a room with a bunch of guys, and I brought up the whole AI avatar piece. I said, "What's that like on the legal side?" And they're like, "We have no idea how to even approach this." Hey, we really don't want to know. I was like, "Oh,
okay." Yeah, it is. The deep fake concept is in our face, and we're going to be dealing with it.
I think that's going to be an area that's going to be very tricky for all this stuff that's going to come out for regulating AI, and being able to have permission to use someone's voice, someone's face, the content side. I think that's pretty well what has to be amount that has to be changed for it, but when it comes to the voice and actually making it look like somebody, these actors don't want anybody acting like them.
No, of course. Yeah, they have to own their own likeness.
It's going to bring in some interesting aspects. I think 2025 is going to be one of the big years that is going to be a lot of changes for that, and it's going to make a lot of laws updated.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Well, let's talk a little bit about what kind of results you're seeing from new clients that haven't done optimized like even just the listings engine? Like, what kind of results are you seeing from that?
Typically in the first 90 days after joining up on the listings engine, it varies between each business. It depends on where they're actually listed at today, what they've done for marketing. It also depends on what they're going to do for marketing. So if they're going to do the social media side, if they have a website, if they don't have a website, I would say we usually see an increase in calls and interactions and more eyeballs on that business by about 35 to 45% would be a good average that I hear back. And we depend on that member to tell us back and to be able to say, hey, this is working, this isn't working. One of the biggest miscommunications, or one of the biggest I guess what people end up getting from it is they think I can just post it out and it's just automatically going to go out and do it. When we list everybody out on the listings engine, we do it naturally. So we have relationships with each of the networks. We provide them over the data. We're not creating accounts. It's not like back in the day, marketing agencies would have, username and password and go through and manually update all the networks. We're not doing that. We send that data directly over. What that network picks up is based on that network. So it's never one of those things to where you still have to, I get lots of people that come in and chat with us that want to see where they're going to be able to bypass the rules of each of the networks. And that's just not the way it's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have as much wiggle room these days as we did in the old days.
And it's cut down on the spam. I mean, there was a lot of fraud that was happening inside of that. I mean, Google's really had to cut back on that. I think that's part of why they're changing Google Business Profile as much as they are. Well, if we looked at us 6 months ago, our platform was completely different. We were very Google-based. We ended up pulling away from being Google-based because I think Google is not the main player out there, and it was about being able to focus everywhere else. You had a lot of contractors that were and people working from home that weren't able to get their business profile, and it caused a lot of problems. So we went back to the drawing board and redid our entire dashboard and how we do things and what we do and how we do it. And I mean, we've been, like we said earlier in the conversation, we've been moving at a super fast speed with all the AI stuff coming out. And I mean, I say local search and just search in general has changed probably 300% in the last 6 months.
Yeah, it's interesting how you're saying that Google is not the main player anymore. So it seems like it's kind of like how we consume entertainment now. We have to go and do all these things piecemeal versus just having one place to manage.
Everybody always wanted to pick what channel they were going to have access to, and now we have some of that control. If you look at Netflix as its own area, YouTube as its own, and all these different things, Paramount Plus. I mean, it gets really costly when you really think about it. You add them all up of all these damn subscriptions.
Yeah, we took that kind of unified approach. We split it out, but you're right. It's cost us on the back end to have that kind of
and then you're paying for it over here. Then you might be paying for it over here too. It's kind of like all that little stuff as a business owner. You start stacking up that little stuff. It costs you a hell of a lot more than the big stuff.
Yeah, and it's like software has replaced the cost of rent or lease, right? You're like, now you just are paying it all in SaaS bills.
I mean, it could cost you an absolute arm and a leg if you go through and sign up for every single service out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so when somebody signs up, even just for your initial package with the listings engine, about how long does it take for them to start to see results?
It's going to depend on how fast they put their information in. So if they sign up and they get all their information out, it's going to take about 7 days for it to go out to the networks. Typically, we get a verification back within first 48 hours. And you'll see all green checks inside of the dashboard that's reporting that out there. And really, truly getting those full optimization to see all the benefit out of it, you're looking at 90 days.
All right. Well, that's pretty quick. Well, Robert, how do people get in touch with you? They want to talk about
simplybefound.com. So between Dean and myself, which are both the co-founders, we handle 100% of the chat that's on there. Hop on a chat, talk to us. It's pretty simple.
All right. Yeah, you guys.
That's the whole point, is keeping it simple. And I've tried the AI chatbots, and they're just not where they need to be yet, and it doesn't bring that natural piece. So it's a lot easier for us to answer. So we utilize the AI on the backside and make sure you get the answer you're looking for. Because there's nothing worse than a small business trying to chase for information.
Yeah, for sure. No, we don't have that much time, right?
You're limited on time. You're limited on budget usually.
Yeah, right. And there's competition. So if you're not able to communicate quickly, then they're going to move on to the next one on the list.
We ended up getting rid of all of our phone support because we were growing too fast to be able to do it. And we looked at putting a sales team on and agents, and it was like, we're going to have to increase price, and it's not, then we're going to be fighting people say the wrong thing, and it's just going to make more people angry. So we kept it small and kept it going good.
All right. I love it. Well, thanks again for your time. I appreciate it. And
if you have any questions whatsoever, I'm always here.
All right.
Thank you too.
You have a great day. Okay. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn.